This is David Cowen live from Legalweek 2026 with Jeffrey Chivers, the CEO of Syllo. Jeffrey, this is not your first Legal Week. This is your third Legal Week as the CEO of Syllo. Congratulations on some great success on Quinn Emanuel of crushing it and kind of redefining the space, creating maybe a little bit of a new category. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. You've got a great presence upstairs at the Javits Center. We're at Javits North. First time we're there. What do you think of the booth so far?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, it's always fun to walk around, not only our booth, but just all the booths to kind of get a lay of the landscape every year.
So I'm walking around and I'm looking at the landscape this year, and I'm like, it does not look like last year or the year before. It seems like last year and the year before, it was coming together. It was jello. It was foggy. It was like you really couldn't tell who is who. You walk onto the floor this year and you're like, okay, these are the dominant players that have established market share or are fighting for market share. And it's pretty clear, who's who now that are trying to carve out space. And you've been in this space for a while because you started as a litigator and started Syllo from the inside out. Tell us, like, what did you think about all the banners? And two, let's talk about this journey of building it, from the inside out.
Yeah, the banners are starting to reflect a maturing market to some extent. Although I'd say there's still a lot of movement and pretty fierce competition all across the industry. And for myself, I started out as a graduate in computer science before going to law school. Got into a litigation career starting at Sullivan and Cromwell. I clerked in the district court in the Third Circuit before co-founding the company. And we've been going at the same vision really the whole time that Syllo's been in existence, which is a unified AI native litigation platform.
So you're a litigator's litigator. What I liked about the story when you and I were prepping for this and the background that I did on you, like you come from litigation and you remind me of the founder that Mike Maples talks about in his book, Pattern Breakers, which is you built Syllo for you. You're a litigator. It's like if this were a car, like this is the sports car for litigators. If you're a litigator, this is a litigator sports car. You're not everything to everybody. You're not a platform. You're like, if you want to drive, this is it. Tell us this story from, like a sports car point of view, if you want.
I love the sports car analogy.
I'll bet you do. It's a Mercedes AMG, man. It's pretty good.
No, I think that's exactly right. And I was, I started in big law, but also litigated in small law. My father actually has been a litigator for over 40 years, so I probably knew more about litigation when I was 18 than a lot of people do after a couple years of law school. And building Syllo is really about delivering that performance experience to a group of professionals that I think do some of the most difficult, most demanding, and most tedious work of any knowledge worker. And I'm sure you've been around a lot of career paralegals, e-discovery pros, lawyers. It's exceedingly challenging work, and building Syllo was really about delivering to them a performance machine.
So I want to break it down a little bit. I just came back from, a week out in Silicon Valley and 2 days at Solid West and 200 people on Thursday and 100 people on Friday, talking about, agents in action and the AI dividend and how we work. And once upon a time, there was collection, processing, hosting, review, and those are very different silos or segments or workflows. And it seems like so let's just call it, once upon a time, there were 10 steps. From where I'm sitting and I look at your workflow, it's like, it's not 10 steps anymore. You've removed steps and compressed steps. And I think that's an easy way to understand things. For those who don't know what Syllo is and don't understand the compression, time to insight, time to strategy, can you put it in that frame for us?
Well, that's exactly right. I think the traditional, very step-by-step linear model is a model that is born out of historical practice, not out of optimal use of current technology. And agentic workflows enable a compression and consolidation of those stages, and it makes the process more recursive. And I think that maps onto better the way that litigators and other professionals really think about things when they're doing an investigation or they're building their case. It's a much more recursive process of exploring theories, running those theories to ground, deciding on a different theory, considering 7 other theories, and going through that recursive process. And what agentic AI on Syllo enables is to have a technology that allows you to engage in that investigative and case building process in a way that I think is just more natural.
Yeah, I want to deconstruct that just a little bit, because what I heard you say, and I don't think it's spread out clearly enough, is that you get to theory, you get to strategy, and I've heard this from many other people now, and you're echoing it, which is, once upon a time I spent 60% of my time getting to the facts, and then I only had 40% left to prepare and bounce around with my team on strategy and theories, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, no, let's just get to theories right away, because we've compressed the time to get to this strategic discussion and or settlement and or any other variety of high level conversations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think that's exactly right. So much time has been spent historically on figuring out what happened. And if you can more quickly figure out what happened, at least in a somewhat objective way, of course, even just saying what happened is loaded with all kinds of potential characterizations. So it's not like there's just one single objective story of what happened, but at least getting to a basic ground truth much more quickly, and then being able to spend your time on exploring various theories, considering counter arguments, considering how the other side, and even running scenarios of how the other side might tell the story, and then crafting your strategy to thread the right needles. And doing that earlier in the case means just a much higher level of preparation across all litigation.
Where do most of your conversations start with a law firm? Is it with the managing partner? Is it with the head of litigation? Is it the CIO? Is it the chief innovation officer? Where do most of your conversations start that, like, okay, if I start here, things are going to go really well because they get it?
The folks who get it most are heads of litigation,
Yeah.
senior litigation partners. And I think that just goes to the degree to which Syllo is that performance vehicle for litigators. I think it takes a very discerning eye, usually an experienced litigation type professional, to see all of the custom features and capabilities that we've built that are built for litigation specifically. And then we're also comfortable speaking with the CIO, the head of knowledge, the head of e-discovery. But the ones who really just like get it within the first 10 minutes are the folks who have been in the sort of trial partner, head of litigation, head of litigation of the corporation type seat.
So do they go from the showroom to a test drive like pretty quickly?
Often they do. Often they do.
What does a test drive look like in the Silo showroom?
Um,
I want a
the
red one.
best
I want a red one, by the way.
The best test drive is, what's a case that you have pending right now that's a total mess in terms of the discovery that needs to be done. There's a bunch of depositions coming up. Maybe you just took over the case from another law firm and your team doesn't even know the case in and out yet. Let's load that entire thing into Syllo and have it get you up to full preparation in a week, kind of test drive. That
Nice.
has always gone extremely well.
What do you hear back from first year, second year, fifth year, seventh years that are using the product?
Dealing with folks at that level is super interesting right now. It's definitely fraught with their own concerns about the future of the profession and the future of their jobs. That's, I think, just something that we all have to grapple with and, train and upskill the associates so that they're not left behind and they're not feeling like they're being left behind, which I don't think they need to be. And so once we're almost always talking with them to some degree about the existential nature of what this technology does to the associate work, but also once they get comfortable with the fact that the technology does not get it to 100%, it gets them to 80% or 90% so much faster, we see them leaning in the most, frankly, because, and I'm sure you know, and I know from prior being an associate, the amount of pressure that kind of rolls downhill onto the senior mid-level associates is so high that having something that can get them much more quickly to a level that they can go in front of a partner, they can provide a partner with really usable work product, they quickly become the biggest champions. And I think that's a trend we'll see continue as we get through the consternation and concern about the future of associate jobs, and those associates see that this is a technology that can enable them to do much better work more quickly in their careers.
Yeah, I don't want to be insensitive to the challenges and the pressures and the loans and kids and career paths. But I do want to say, if you're listening, like this is the way it is, right? You've got to, if you don't get on board, you get left behind. So I'll take the hard line. You could take a softer line. I know that you've gotten through law school, and again, whether you're first year, third year, fifth year, recent partner, it's like the sooner you adopt, the sooner you get to. And people hate when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The sooner you adapt and adopt a 996 mindset, like right now, this is, in my opinion, the single most important year of your career. So in the single most important year of your career, it's kind of like, it's like 11th grade in high school. Like if you don't nail 11th grade and you don't land your SATs, that's going to set you back like forever in terms of the earning curve for most people. So 996 is from 9 to 9, 6 days a week. And nobody wants to hear me say that, right? You've got kids, you got loans, you want to have a life, you want to have, well-being. And I get all of that. What do you say to, those that are on that bubble that haven't embraced it?
I actually have to agree that this is going to be the most transformative year, probably. Maybe it's next year, but it's definitely this year or next year that the experience and reality of being a lawyer, being an associate is going to change more this year and next year than probably any other year, maybe ever. Like it's that big of a shift in terms of what technology is capable of doing today versus even a year ago. And I also think that the future is bright for really good litigators. And
Or those that you don't even have to be a really good litigator. You just have to be radically curious and have grit.
and not just litigators. I agree. It's
Yeah.
e-discovery professionals, paralegals, the folks who work in the litigation industry. I think the future is bright for those who lean in and absorb and learn how to do things with this new set of capabilities. I paid a lot of dues as a first year, second year associate, and I think that has been the history of the litigation profession is 3 to 7 years of paying dues through document review and tedious grunt work, only a small percentage of which is really needed to learn the craft, and a whole lot of which is truly just grunt work. And if that doesn't need to be the reality of the first 3 to 7 years of entering into the litigation
That's right.
profession, maybe that's a great thing, and the quality of litigation is just going to go up.
Well, this is much more interesting, right? And so here's what's unfair. Like I understand what I'm saying is unfair. Like I get it. It's like, David, this is like, so Cowan, what are you talking about? It's like so unfair. I did all of this and now you're moving my cheese on me. I'm like, but that's business, right? That's not, I'm a lawyer. That's just like living in the world of change. And it's not that it's change, it's uncertainty. But here's what is got some certainty to it. You're going back to school for another 2 years. Like, I'm sorry, law school is not 2 years anymore. It's 4. And here's the next 2. And it's all tech and it's all AI. Here's the good news, though, for those of you that are listening to me and want to kill me right now. You don't even have to stay in the law if you figure out the AI tech and how it works. You can like wake up one day and go like, I don't even want to do law anymore. I want to go do this other thing. But I've learned how to use the tools and the technology. So whether it's chat or it's Copilot or it's Claude or it's Gemini or it's Notebook LM or it's Syllo or it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick your platform or your tool of choice. So long as you learn how to drive a car, you're going to be on the road, and you've got to be on the road because you don't want to be horse and buggy or bicycle right now.
Totally agree. And I also agree that your description of the mindset of being a student and going back to school is a really good one. And I think it's really hard for people. It's hard for me. It's been even hard for me, even though I'm at the intersection and this is all I do. Shifting as someone who's many years out of school and was very happy to be done with school, I think that mindset is critical. Like we're all everybody, not just the folks who are in the legal profession, but anybody in knowledge work has to approach this that we're all students again. We have to absorb and learn this new way of doing our work. I fully agree with that.
If and for those of you that have kids, you can probably put yourself in these shoes a little bit more easily. Like your kids come to you all the time. They go like, I don't wanna. Like how often do you hear like, I don't want to eat this, or I don't want to go here, or I don't want to do that, or I don't want to study, or I don't want to, I don't want to take French or Spanish or whatever it is that they don't want to do. And you're like, yeah, but you need to. And like, you do know better. Like, I don't know, man, it's a deep breath moment where wellness will, I think, result in that. I don't think that it's at the risk of or at the cost of wellness. I think that the moment you get comfortable with this, the moment you get comfortable being uncomfortable, wellness results. Like I get the discomfort, but as soon as you embrace it, you're like, oh, okay, here it is.
The discomfort, I think, is totally natural. I've felt it, and we talk about it and see it as we roll out Syllo across law firms. And ultimately, leaning into that leads to an understanding that the AI technology of today only gets to 80 or 90%. And that feels like a lot, and it feels very scary, but that last 20% or that last 10% is where so much of the human creativity and judgment and advocacy all comes into play.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen lawyers get through that discomfort and get to embracing the new way of doing their work. And I've seen it just as you described, where they get more comfortable with it because they realize that this technology is not doing the whole thing. It's doing the parts of the work that, as I said, like these are the dues paying years of our profession are glorified in various ways that I think don't necessarily need to continue to be glorified.
So for those that are inspired and want more, spell Syllo, and how did anybody get in touch with you?
Syllo is Syllo. It's a reference to syllogism, and we're at Syllo.ai.
Fantastic. And last question, CEO, biggest challenge, people, process, technology, financing, keeping up with it all, 2 kids. I mean, what's the biggest challenge in your world right now, Jeff?
Right now, it's people management. Growing as a company from 15 or 20 people to a much larger number of people introduces all of the normal people management and scaling challenges that we haven't trained to take on. And so that I think the team building and people management aspects of a growing company are what's taken a whole lot of time right now, but it is really fun and exciting that we have the opportunity to continue building.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking time. Day 1, Legal Week 2026. I hope that you'll visit with us again next year. We'll revisit what we talked about now, and I'm wishing you great success going forward. Thanks for taking the time with us today.
Thank you so much, David.
You're so welcome.
Thanks a lot.
If you enjoyed this show, be sure to give us a like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your shows. And if you want to take your career from now to next, never eat alone.